everybody from Metro Detroit. Yes, my name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth, definitely appropriately in the right area, Metro Detroit. Welcome to the Inside the Pigskin. Oh, really? We're going to have a wild show, and of course, it'll be broadcast around the world. We're going to have an active chat room as well as that. Now, Inside the Pigskin is sponsored by Black Rock Bar and Grill. Tonight, we are live in Hartland, Michigan, the company's original location, which opened on October 27th, 2010. And my brother Lonnie Morganroth opened it, and I remember the idea came from La Petite out in Aruba when my brother, my dad, my mother, and I were down there. And when Lonnie gets something in his head, my goodness, he stayed with it. Well, with Black Rock Bar and Grill, you cook your meals the way you like them on a sizzling 755-degree live lava volcano rock. And for those folks that want to know a little bit about 755, let me also point out that Hank Aaron hit 755 home runs, so there's a little bit of history behind 755. But tonight it applies to the lava rock. Let me go out there and introduce the crew, because we have a dream team of sorts. But we are going out there, and let me tell you something, man. I am excited. I don't know about the Pointer Sisters, because I don't know that song. I'm so excited. Oh, no, I can't forget the word. I'm bad with that stuff anyway. Thanks, Jennifer, for acknowledging that privately. I think a lot of people are going to realize, yes, there is a lot of pop in my system. It stems from earlier, and it's only going to get worse as this broadcast gets going. So with that said, let's talk up. Let me introduce the dream team here. Yes, it is the NFL Draft. We're doing this in collaboration with Chicks and Salsa, 3 Chicks in a Pod. 2 of them are on tonight, and we encourage you to support their show as well. But that said, yeah, am I going to get louder? I don't know. Everybody can hear me in this group, and we'll see if my voice echoes outside of this private room we have. All right, to my right is Candy Abling.
Hi, everybody.
And we have George Drama Icorn. That's his new nickname.
Hi, everyone.
He wears it well. All right. And then Jeremy Ballreck.
Hello, sir. How are you this evening?
And everybody knows me. I'm the guy in the middle. So am I the monkey in the middle? According to this said I am. It doesn't matter where I put me. Football Talk with Bill was kind enough to go on when we had this expanded crew.
How's it going, guys?
We're fired up, baby. All right, and Travis Sherlock Holmes, welcome to the big show.
I'm less fired up, but yeah, I'm excited about the draft.
Nobody's going to get as fired up as I am. My gosh, I'm at my brother's restaurant and a beautiful facility that Erica, the manager on duty, provided us with the cooperation of my nephew, Brandon. So all of them helped coordinate it, and Lonnie, of course, has been behind this idea for quite a while. And last but not least, we have Jennifer Lewis. And isn't she beautiful? I wonder how many of you guys are going to go out there and light it up with Jennifer alone and Candy. Hey, forget about us guys here. We got the girls. All right. So with that said, am I going to calm down? Don't hold your breath. We're just getting started here. So somebody's got to man the chat room here, and then we can go ahead from there. All right, well, our first topic of the evening starts with Zach Wilson. Was traded to from the New York Jets to the Denver Broncos. So the question, everybody in the crew, is, will the Broncos draft another quarterback? And how do you think Zach Wilson's going to do with Sean Payton? Candy, we'll start. We're going to go right to left all night, unless that way I can keep track of everybody better. All right, Candy, you starting?
I'm starting. Wow, that's a first. Yes,
may not be the last either.
I'm sure. I think they are going to draft a quarterback. I think they're going to test Wilson out. They got him pretty cheap. And I think they're going to look for somebody else, because what they want to do is I think they want to develop a good young quarterback so they can wait. They don't have to pick real high early and with one of those draft picks, but they can pick a little bit later, and then they can get a quarterback that they can really develop. That's what I think.
All right, George.
Yeah, I'm. First of all, I'm happy for Zach had to get out of that scene that he was in. I mean, there's no question about it that he had to be moved. and we'll see if things work out for him. But I agree with Candy. I mean, they're not satisfied with Zach as their number one. I don't think, unless they get a quarterback that is like, less experience, let's just say, and they don't want to start him right away. Then you would fool around with and have Zach there for a little bit of time before you groom this kid and the draft choice rather. But I still think they're going to look for a quarterback. Yeah, I do, Scott.
All right, by popular demand, Jeremy is the best one on here, always showing love for Chet. Of course he does. We know how much I love this guy. He does too. But you know what? He is going to take on the role of police officer if you guys get out of line, just so you know. So with that said, go ahead. Let's talk about Zach Wilson. First of all, will this be a good fresh start for him with Denver, and will they get another QB, Jeremy?
Well, all I know is he went to Denver, and there's a bunch of snow bunnies there, so he'll have plenty of milk to choose from. So his tagline gets to come in on throwing bombs and banging moms. But other than that, yes, I think it's a great choice because Sean Payton can help a lot of quarterbacks get better. He just can't help old ones that don't have new tricks like Russell Wilson.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to say about it is I'm glad that he did get traded to Denver. Don't forget that he played at Brigham Young University as well. So he has played in that part of the country and did pretty well. So I do believe in Sean Payton's ability to go out there and develop quarterbacks. But, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what, Coach? I want to get you in there as well. Go ahead.
I think this is a price point stopgap move. They wanted to get a player that they thought had some value at a low price point and see what's available in the draft. I think it's I think Zach's pretty much shown what he is so far in the league. I believe that, if anybody can get anything out of him, certainly Sean can, but I don't think that they have a lot invested in this move. I think it's, it's a penny stock for them.
Okay. A penny stock. That's interesting. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is, it's interesting, but in the interest of watching the world burn, this seems like a hilarious move, whether it was Sean Payton just sticking it to Hackett, just trying to prove that he's not that guy one more time. Maybe they're trying to sell some extra Wilson jerseys. They'll give him the number 3 so they don't have to switch them up. Or maybe really wanting to watch everything burn, they're slow playing to go get Dak next year.
That's an interesting comment. Let's stick it to Hackett. And just another way for sure. I don't think anybody could have come up with anything like that except you, Bo. Good stuff. All right. I mean, you got us all laughing at that comment. Good stuff. We'll put you the GOAT, Bo, on that, depending on what happens with Travis and John.
And Josh, I do see you in the comments there.
May I address that about Robert Wardell there, saying that Zach Wilson is no Breeze and Breeze made Peyton? If that's the case, then Peyton would have been great at San Diego. They got rid of him because they got that trade draft done with Phillip Rivers.
Wasn't he injured though?
He had the UCL surgery that year, which is when he got better.
Yeah, I mean, he was injured though.
Right, he had the UCL tear that required that Tommy John type of surgery like a pitcher, and he got better when he started being coached with Sean Payton. The first year was not great. Go back and look. Sean Payton did make Drew Brees better.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Sean and Drew Brees is on record as thanking Sean Payton. And that's coming from a fellow NFC South person.
Okay.
Yeah,
They were
a team together. They were Belichick and Brady of the NFC South.
Well, you know what, Jen? While you're talking about it, why don't you give me your thoughts about, one, the Zach Wilson trade, and also will the Broncos draft a quarterback, Jen?
So the Jets are NFL quarterback purgatory. Heck, even Aaron couldn't last more than 1 or 2 preseason games before he got hurt. So yeah. And they announced that they were going to be trading Zach right after he won most valuable offensive player of the week, which was pretty jacked up. Literally, it was announced on Monday that he won, and he was kicked out or given his walk-in papers on Tuesday. So that was pretty jacked up. But yes, I do actually think they're going to be drafting a quarterback as well. I kind of think it'll be drakemaye.
Okay. All right. Well, Travis, you got the last word on this topic.
I mean, yeah, Jen said it. I mean, New York Jets. New York. That is quarterback purgatory right now. I can't say all of New York because at least the Giants have had some kind of good history. But for the Jets, I mean, I was texting with everybody earlier today talking about the lowest QBR in their first 3 seasons, and 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks in this since they've been tracking it back to 2006 are all New York Jet quarterbacks. Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, and Mark Sanchez. That is crazy. Like in having the lowest QBR in their first few seasons. So yes, he gets the new start. It feels like it's a structural issue overall. I'm not going to say any of these quarterbacks have been incredible when they left, but I mean, nevertheless, goodness gracious, 3 of the top 5 when there's 32 teams obviously says there's something not just wrong with the quarterback, but there may be something wrong with the development, maybe wrong with the structure, etc. So now he gets to go to an actual, at least above average at bare minimum, coaching Sean Payton, and he gets to compete with Jarrett Stidham and Ben DiNucci, whatever that is. So he has a legitimate opportunity to get on the field with a good quarterback coach, quarterback, I won't say guru, but a solid coordinator as far as that's concerned. Good situation for him. Low risk move, like Coach Bono said earlier. It's a penny stock. Hey man, I guess Zach Wilson to the moon. Let's go.
Well, it's interesting how you say that, and I'll leave it on that. Is if Sean Payton gets Zach Wilson for his confidence back, okay, that will be one big coup. It really, really will. So the fresh start is definitely in order. All right, let's continue on.
2.0.
What's that?
I said Baker Mayfield 2.0. Come on.
Yeah, there you go. Great comparison.
Except
All
Alex is now with Bryce Young. Yay.
Well, I think I do believe that Bryce Young's gonna, now that they have a new coaching staff, you'll see some improvement there.
I'm a Kraken fan. I did drop that in the comments, not to interrupt, but I'm a Kraken fan, and yes, Coast to Coast is a daily show that I'm on.
Okay.
The comments are definitely going to town.
Well, we have a very good following. I appreciate all the participation in the chat room. All right, onward we go. Will the Minnesota Vikings draft a rookie quarterback with Sam Darnold as the placeholder? All right, Coach, lead it off.
Yes, I think they will.
Okay.
It's a decent placeholder. They got a chance to develop the kid, but I think they'll go all in on a quarterback. That's my opinion.
Okay, Candy.
What was remind me what the question was again? I'm trying to man the chat. Sorry.
Yeah, I was waiting for it to be put up so I could read them up, but every time they got put up, they were taken down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, there's no way you're keeping up.
What's the question?
Okay. Will the Minnesota Vikings draft a rookie quarterback with Sam Darnold as placeholder, Candy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think they need to. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to be the answer long term, and there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft too. So it's not like they have to really reach for one. That there's going to be some available a little bit later yet too, and then they got a good pick. So I'm going to say yes.
Okay, George.
Yes, I predict that jjmccarthy from the University of Michigan will be a Minnesota Viking and succeeding a guy from the other side, Spartan Kirk Cousins. So how would that be? Now, we all know that JJ is not going to be the starter because obviously they want to bring him along in a slower pace. But so Sam Darnold is there as the leader. Like you said, Scott, a placeholder. But yes, I think if they're going to go for a quarterback, I really do. And JJ might be the man.
Okay, all right, Smoking.
Sam Darnold will be replaced by the 5th game at the latest because he just hasn't had it. Everywhere he's went, he's been out by the 5th game ever since he left New York. The only great game he had was the game he came back and whooped the crap out of our Lions his rookie year.
Okay. Well, you know what? I do believe that they'll draft a quarterback. It'll be interesting to see which teams trade up to try to get one. But I like what George saying, JJ McCarthy. But I'll get to him in a little while. But yeah, I think Sam Darnold will do all right for about a year or so. And nowadays, I think quarterbacks should have at least 1 or 2 years to develop anyway. So Sam Darnold was an ideal guy to bring in there. But yeah, the Vikings are going to pick a quarterback somewhere along the way. And let me point out something too. If you don't get a quarterback in the first round, it's not the worst thing in the planet. You can find him in the second or third round. You ever heard of Joe Montana? He was a third round pick out of Notre Dame. So you don't have to find him in the first round. I won't get into that too much detail, but yeah, they'll draft another quarterback. All right, Bo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to try and do that this time through, just because of where they're picking. I mean, unless they're going to move their pick, they might roll with Darnold and try and add some more pieces.
Okay. All right, Travis.
I don't see a world where they don't pick one of these top 6 quarterbacks. If we're talking first round, and that's you got Justin Jefferson. I just don't. I can't fathom a world where you have a second-year GM that's not going to get him a reasonable quarterback. And at least let's say I'm trying not to give up on the season. So just based on that alone, I'm probably going into whether or not they trade. I don't know if they want to necessarily give up the 2 resources, since they do have the 2 picks in the first round, but they can sit at home at 11 and still get whether it be probably not JJ McCarthy, but possibly JJ McCarthy. But if you're not talking, you're in that bonix territory. You're in that the guy from Penix territory. At least these are all still solid options when you have a get out of jail free card that is Justin Jefferson. And then you have Aaron Jones added to that offense. You don't even necessarily need them to just have this high spread offense, this super explosive spread offense. I think that's a reasonable situation to have any of these quarterbacks in while you're still developing them and building them up.
Hey, rocket scientist, answer your question. We had the stakes before the show. And secondly, again, can we get a loud dog check? No, I don't give anything about loud dog checks because I need to keep my voice.
Can I do the dog check just to keep them happy?
Yeah, go ahead. There you go. All right, there you go. All right, you got your dog check. All right. And where are the stakes? Well, part of them are in my stomach, Joshua. The other part are in a take-home container. All right, Jennifer, give me your thoughts about the Vikings.
I need to correct Jeremy on one thing. Your boy also beat you in 2022 and took you guys out of the playoffs. I'm just saying.
Oh, he had lucky day.
Oh, now it's luck.
Well, I mean, he was being coached by Matt Rule. Of course, it was luck.
Wait,
but
it wasn't him that beat us. It was that porous run defense where we gave up 260 yards.
Just saying, I think Mr. Darnold might have y'all's number. I'm just one humble girl's opinion. That's all I'm saying.
I agree, Jen. Wins are a quarterback stat.
I mean, we can't give him a lot of credit, but we gotta give him credit where it's due, right? But I was gonna say, in defense of Sam Darnold, think of who his coaches were. Literally, dude was great. But yes, the Vikings will be picking another quarterback, and Sam will be back up. Because also, when he was backup quarterback last year for the Niners, he didn't do bad when he played. He did pretty good.
Okay. All right. You know, we're gonna go to Candy for a station identification. Go ahead, Candy.
So if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right corner by Jen, hit it, like us, share us with all of your friends. And if you're already one of our subscribers, thank you for subscribing, but now share it to your friends. We want more chat rooms. And yes, I'm trying to get the chat room comments up. We're not getting to all of them. I do apologize, but we're trying to stay on point tonight. We are live at Black Rock Bar and Grill from Hartland, Michigan. And we are covering the draft this week because that is happening in downtown Detroit starting on Thursday. If you like to hear the audio version of our show, you can hear it wherever you get your podcast. We have a website, www.southfloridatribune.com. To advertise, you can call Scott, 954-304-4941. You can look at Scott's writing, George's writing, Jeremy's writing on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Many of our panelists here tonight have their own shows. We would ask that you would go visit their channels and go out and watch their shows as well. And one last thing, Scott wrote a book. Let's see if I can put it up here. It's going to cover us. Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, Google Books, Kindle. You name it, you got it. Go get it. If you don't have it yet, I don't know why. Okay. Back to you, Scott.
Well done, Candy. Well done. All right. Well, the Las Vegas Raiders being the quarterback market, according to Danieljeremiah, he's looking at Michael Penix is who he is right now. So, all right, we'll start off with you, Coach. What do you think? Raiders being in the QB market.
I think they're in the. I think they are as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think. You know, it's. I don't think Minshew is the long-term answer. I don't think that's what they want. You know, long-term. But yeah, I think there's quality picks in this draft at that position, and I think you're going to see a flurry of them go in that first day.
Okay, Candy.
I agree with Coach. I think we're going to see a record number of them go early. And yeah, they need somebody because as much as I like Minshew, he is not first string caliber one. He's a good, very good, viable backup, but he is not a starter for the season.
Okay, George.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all know this is top heavy with quarterbacks, and I agree. They're going to really shape this first round, no question about it, here in Detroit. And the Raiders, yeah, I mean, they definitely could use a new quarterback, and they're really in a tough situation. Are they still in the 13th position for drafting?
Yeah.
So they might try to move up earlier if they have their eyes on a certain one. But yeah, they have a lot of needs, though, the Raiders do. But quarterback is still one of them, I believe.
Okay, Jeremy.
Well, everybody forgets when Minshew came into the league, he actually looked like a valid starter. He did a great job there at starting before they decided to go in a different direction because they had a new coaching staff. But at the same time, all he's been used as is a backup. But when he's had to back up, he's played almost an entire season and not done horrible. Look at what he did with Indianapolis. They damn near made the playoffs. So that being said, the reason why he's there is if AOC doesn't look as good or better than he did last year, he'll take over as the starter there. And I don't think they have to draft a quarterback in the first round.
Okay, well, you know, the reality is the situation. Candy and I have seen Gardner Minshew, and they are in a position where if the right quarterback doesn't fall in their direction, then ride them. And again, I'll reiterate on every quarterback topic, you can get good quarterbacks second, third, fourth round easily. And of course, I don't have to sit here and tell you the Brock Purdy and Tom Brady stories because they were drafted way late. But I know a lot of teams like to go into the first round because they think that's their guy. And all I'll say is troyaikman don't grow on trees. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Bo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like they need to go get a QB, right? Like you have Minshew, he is this era's Ryan Fitzpatrick, so you can win games with him. So and he's entertaining to watch. Is he going to take you to a championship? Probably not, but he can win you games. He's fun to watch. He keeps fans in the stands, and it buys you time. You don't necessarily have to get, a bonix because he's the last guy in the first round that's still on the board. You can bide your time. You can live to play another time, live to play another season for, a different quarterback to come up.
Okay. Turn it over to you, Travis.
I think I'm in agreement with Bo there. Before hearing anything about, the rumors that Mike Garofalo of I believe in NFL Network earlier today said that the Raiders are one of the two teams who reached out to Washington and offered a trade package to move up to number 2. but Washington said they were going to stay pat. So, but before even seeing that report, I'm like, I thought Minshew was a reasonable enough starter, especially with how he played both in Jacksonville, even when they didn't have a great team around him. I had firsthand experience with that one, unfortunately, in that 1-win season. But also in Indianapolis, they played really well under him, in spite of the fact that he wasn't training to be the starter in that offense. But all the injuries to Anthony Richardson, and he put that team on the back and had them fighting for a playoff berth. He's a solid quarterback, and he's even an upgrade over O'Connell, in my personal opinion. So if they end up getting a guy like Penance, or if they end up getting a guy like bonix, who may need a little bit of time to get acclimated, he will easily, in that offense, I believe, be able to buy them that time.
Okay, we'll turn it over to Jen.
Yeah, I'm conflicted on that one, because we do have Minshew is fun to watch. He did a great job filling in for AR, who I'm really excited to watch this season. Like, so excited. Like, Candy knows this. I really wanted us to draft AR. But yeah. They may sit this one out and just see what Gardner Minshew can do. I agree with Travis and Bo. I don't think O'Connell will be the starter. But who knows? Because they do have another building that knows his way around a ring or 6 that might be, giving some, aside coaching and mentorship as well. So, and that one happened to go 6th round. So,
Well, believe it or not, you say that he went the 6th round. I was covering the Jacksonville Jaguars draft when he got picked. Everybody was pretty intrigued about it as well. So, bear in mind, folks, I've covered drafts for the Lions, the Dolphins, and the Jaguars, and now I have my opportunity to cover it on a national level, which is pretty neat, because there'll be a lot of activities as we go along. Tomorrow, activity with Melfar at night, and immediate availability over at the old ballpark or the corner ballpark. So that'll be pretty good. All right, with that said, okay, everybody's been pecking away at it. Now I'll bring it up. So where do you see JJMcCarthy landing, Coach?
Good one.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him in Minnesota.
Okay. Candy?
That's what I was going to say, Coach. You took the words right out of my mouth. That's where I think he's going to land.
George?
Fired.
I mentioned earlier Minnesota. I'm going to stick by that. I mean, there's another team that has a bunch of needs. They're right now currently in the 11th position to draft. And they may have to move up to get JJ, because there's going to be so many quarterbacks taken real early. But the trade rumors are out there that Minnesota is trying to do something to move up. So that'd be my first choice. I as far as a second or third choice, I don't know. It's just there's too much going on with some of these other quarterbacks being ahead of JJ on the depth chart, and he does strike me as someone who probably could have used one more year in college. And I only say that because, as we know, Harbaugh had a different kind of offense where it was run heavy, as you guys know. So, I mean, JJ, for seasoning purposes, could have used another year in the Big Ten, but obviously it didn't happen. 19, 20 Michigan players are probably going to be drafted. So, yeah, Scott, I'll stick with Minnesota, maybe drafting him.
All right, Jeremy, what do you think?
I think JJ could go to one of 3 teams. I think it possibly could be the Patriots, because the Commanders seem to be higher, not on Jaden Daniels like everybody thinks. It's actually drakemaye they're high on, because Jaden Daniels poo-pooed the fact that they did a group QB interview.
Right.
And he didn't like that working out with all of them. So I think they're going drakemaye. Jaden Daniels or JJ will probably go to the Patriots, and whoever doesn't go there is going to the Vikings.
Okay. Well, I've heard a couple things. I do like the Vikings, but I have a gut feeling for some reason JJMcCarthy could land with the Raiders. And you don't know if they're going to go out there and move up in the draft. But I don't know why. I just have a real feeling the Raiders may get him. But I think the only chance that they go ahead and get him is they'd have to move up in the draft to do it. I don't think JJMcCarthy lasts past 10 rounds. With that said, I'll transition it over to Bo.
Yeah, I don't know. I could actually see I could see the Giants making a move for him. And
Okay.
only because Daniel Jones is not going to be in that building and Drew Lock isn't the answer. So, if you have JJ, he gets to sit for a year, would help his game a lot, gives them a nice out for Daniel Jones, and then, take over that franchise.
Okay. Travis?
Yeah, I was actually in agreement with Jeremy's first of three options that he named. Going with the Patriots. You're competing with you got Jacoby Brissett, you got Bailey Zappi, and Canada's own Nathan Rourke. On the roster. I do believe that's where he ends up going, that 3 pick.
Yeah, believe it or not, you say Nathan Rourke. I don't know why I have a real weird feeling about it, but I have a feeling he might be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots if he gets a decent opportunity. That's just a gut
I
feeling.
thought he was going to be the guy to back up in Jacksonville, but for whatever reason, they like C.J. Beathard. I still don't know why.
Yeah, so just watch out for Nathan Rourke as a starter for the New England Patriots. I'll turn it over to you, Jen.
So Jeremy and Travis stole my idea. I'm going with the Patriots or the Chargers.
Whoa.
Wow.
A reunion with Jim Harbaugh.
I want to expound on that. The only way he goes to the Chargers is if they trade Justin Herbert to Minnesota for all those picks.
Yeah, well, I've got a little piece of the I have something on the Chargers a little bit later, so that I ended up getting from my media availability. But you know what, Jennifer? I like your idea of going with the Chargers because anytime you get Jim Harbaugh with a quarterback that he's used to, you know what? Picks like that, Jennifer, could actually work out. I don't know why. It's just such a crazy.
Up again. I mean, the man is really on JJMcCarthy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a possibility, but I can honestly also see him in New England.
I could not imagine the trade package they would get for that quarterback. Goodness.
Right.
I mean, I'll say this. New England would intrigue me only because you go from one Michigan quarterback and Brady to McCarthy. That would be the most obvious angle or storyline, but we'll see. We'll know on Thursday night. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to refer to Daniel Jeremiah a lot because of that media availability being so productive. But a question was asked to Jeremiah was, will the Detroit Lions move up now since they're in a win now mode? All right, Coach, what do you think?
I'm sorry, Scott. What was the question again?
Sure, no problem, Coach. A question was asked to Daniel Jeremiah was, will the Detroit Lions move up now since they're in a win now window?
Man, it's always a possibility. I mean, you never can count on. I don't think they need to. I think they're in a good spot. But obviously, if there's a player that they covet or they get, they could move back for more picks. You know what I mean? That's who knows? You never know how draft is going to go.
Right. Okay.
There's your dog symbol, your dog salute.
There you go.
Dog check.
All right, Candy.
So my question to you is, how many picks do they have? Do you know? Jeremy, how many picks do the Lions have?
We have 7 picks this year because we traded away our second, third-round pick to Tampa Bay in the Carlton Davis trade. So we have 1 first, 1 second, 1 third, 1 fifth, 2 sixths, and a 7th.
So my thought would be that I don't think they'll trade away picks. Or they might, is what I'm saying. And they might trade if there's someone they're really looking for, or if they think there's a very specific need and a very specific person, that they could take a couple of those picks and put them together and trade to get whoever they want. Now, I'm not saying I know who that is, but I could see stranger things have happened.
Okay, George, you're there, here
I'm
with
here.
us.
I do not think that they're going to be trading up. I think that if nothing else, they may even trade down a little bit, which would be a huge disappointment to the 300,000 people that may be expecting the Lions to make a draft pick on opening night. But obviously, Brad Holmes, I don't challenge anything Brad does. Brad has done a tremendous job, and Dan Campbell in molding that roster. But right now, I don't see a need to move up. I mean, they're probably looking at secondary help or the O line or D line, maybe with their first pick. So there's going to be plenty of guys available, especially in the secondary. There's a lot of good guys coming out. So I would say no, Scott. I don't anticipate them trading up.
Okay, Jeremy.
I don't anticipate them trading up. Number one, we're still looking to add to this roster, so we're waiting for June 1st for the second round of free agency. I see us more of trading back after what Brad Holmes said the other day. He said the top 5 corners athletically and talent-wise are not next generation, and you can get guys with the same athletic abilities later in the draft and train them to be better talented players. So I don't think we're trading up for a corner. He also said he doesn't see where a first-round O-lineman cracks the starting lineup with the 5 we have unless someone's injured. So he's more than not likely going O-line, which means the holes that he's looking to fill is defensive edge, which there's not a generational talent at the top, and also wide receiver to replace Josh Reynolds if necessary.
Right.
That's why they brought in, just today, Xavier Leggett, day 2 pick, wide receiver, for his interview.
Okay. What I'm going to do is give you Daniel Jeremiah's answer to that question. He says, yeah, I wouldn't rule that out. They've got some age on the offensive line, so if there's a guy that they feel they love to go up there and get one, that wouldn't shock me at all. That would not shock me. The corner position is one they can continue to look at. They've done a lot of homework on the corner class. Is what they've done. And, of course, the corner position is one that they can look at. So, as I mentioned, and as I continue to look at Daniel's comments, all right, and talking to some of the agents over the last week. So, yeah, I think one of those top corners starts to drift a little bit. They could go up there and do that as well. But you hit it. I mean, they're knocking on the door. They are right on the cusp of being a championship team. So if there's ever a time to be aggressive, this would be it. Well, I'm not going to comment on it myself. I'll let Daniel Jeremiah's comments go out there, and we'll see. He believes they will. But then again, you're talking about Brad Holmes. So he's the X factor. He's capable of anything. I think he's the new version of David Copperfield. He's a magician. All right, Bo?
Yeah, I don't think they move up to get anybody. I can see them actually dropping back out of the first round, because what they can get where they are is similar talent to what they can get throughout the second round.
Okay. Travis?
Yeah. If they were to trade up, it would be something like where none of the cornerbacks have been chosen when you're getting in the early 20s, and maybe they have the opportunity to truly pick the best cornerback of the bunch, maybe someone like a Quinyon Mitchell or something along those lines. That's the only way I could see them trading up, and it wouldn't be this huge jump. It'd just be like 5-6 spots in the 20s. Otherwise, you're probably talking just at that point sitting at home, getting up a Graham Barton or a JPJ, or again collecting one of those cornerbacks and just kind of just pick it and let it ride.
Hey, Jen?
I actually agree with Jeremy. And I think someone else said it. I apologize if I'm leaving you out, but I do think they're going to be moving back some. That's just me, because they would rather get more players, because they are on the cusp. Honestly, Jeremy, I don't know how I see you guys going pretty far into the playoffs again. Maybe even Super Bowl, but I don't know that you'll win it yet this year. But look how far you guys have progressively come since 2022. So all you guys keep doing is adding. And it's amazing to see. Like the Lions actually give me hope for my Panthers. I'm not gonna lie. So
The Lions have good ownership.
I would
yes,
love
they
to
do.
dive into that.
That's a valid point, Travis.
I like that subtle dig right there.
But I mean, you don't waste a first round draft pick on a cornerback. I'm sorry, like the money's not there. And yeah, because remember, when you don't have the talent, the drive succeeds. Drive will pass over talent any day of the week, as long as you work hard. And if you have any coach, and Coach John, you know this, can bring that talent out as long as that drive, that dedication, that competitive edge is there. To the moon.
Okay. Jeremy, was there one last thing you want to add to this?
Not only that, yes, we see the comments, guys, but we're trying to stay on topic because we have to have a quick show. I want to address that now. So if the questions are off topic, we're not addressing them.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
Yes, I see your comment. Question for Bono: what should we expect from the Dolphins this week?
Okay,
that's for you, Coach. You're muted.
I would. That's a great question. I mean, I think they need to go defense. They need some help defensively. I'd see them going for, best available guy, or at least they have on defensively.
Okay.
I think the Dolphins are going to trade away Jalen Ramsey.
Coach, I agree. I think they're actually probably going corner because they don't have a valid number 2 now that Xavier Howard's gone.
Okay, excellent points, Jeremy.
One last thing, Scott. Question for George: where can I get a hat you're wearing? We are working on a clothing line where our logo, Coach John Bonamego, is getting us in touch with. We are working on it. We're a couple weeks out. As soon as we have the apparel line available for you to purchase, we will definitely be telling everybody where they can go to purchase South Florida Tribune apparel and Chotskis.
As well as the Motor City Madmouth. Okay, there might be a few people that want to get louder than I am. We got them both. Coach Bono brokering it, and you know what? I'm glad that he's doing it. More power to you, Coach. We got to give you your prompts. Of course, you may not have any social media, but we're going to build you up one way or the other, Coach. You don't have to worry.
Yes, Jim, we can see your comments.
Yeah, and I raised my hand for you when you put it up. So.
All right, there you go.
Cool kids, raise your hand.
Yeah, right.
Just kidding.
There
I'm
you
just
go.
following your lead, George. You're the coolest kid.
It's funny.
Robert Wardell said a comment where he thinks his Hawks are better than Detroit. Anybody can win one game, and you guys won by 3 points 2 years in a row. And if you actually look at the offensive versus defensive, we actually scored more offensive points than your team. So, records say Detroit was better because you went 9-8 at the same year. You went 9-8, and then we went 12-5 when you guys didn't even make the playoffs. End of story.
Okay. All right. Everybody get their say in on this topic?
Yep.
Yes.
Very good. All right. Well, you know what? I asked Danieljeremiah if he could identify any hidden gems at quarterback. And the 3 that stood out with Dan is Spencerrattler out of South Carolina, devonleary of Kentucky, and mikepratt of Tulane. So, you know what? You may want to watch those guys there. As we kept talking about the theme of the show, where can you find that hidden gem if he's not in the first round or 2? I just mentioned 3, and so did Danieljeremiah, who we're going to meet tomorrow. And so, with that said, that's what I asked them. Candy, or no, Coach, what do you think of those 3 guys?
Man, those are 3 really good names. With all the other names that ahead of them, those are guys that were very consistent starters that won games, that put up good numbers. And, you just never know. If a guy is picked in the right spot, gets in the right situation, and gets hot, sky's the limit. So, it happens every year. Why would this year be any different?
Okay. All right, Candy?
Coach, I should stop going behind you because you're taking the words out of my mouth. It really depends on the system that you're drafted into. Who are your coaches? Who are you working with? and who is surrounded around you to help you succeed. Because I think that really makes a big difference. Like Jen said, you can have all the drive you want, but again, this is not an individual team sport. This is not an individual sport. This is a team sport. So you have to be a team player, and you have to have the coaches that are willing to help put you in the right spot and help you coach you to what you need, not necessarily what you think you need, but really there could be a difference. You might think your strengths and weaknesses are one thing, but a coach might see something different. So I think you also have to have not an ego that you're confident, but yet not an ego that you don't listen to your coaches and other people. That's what I mean.
Okay, turn it over to George.
Yeah, Scott, there's always the sleepers. We all know about that. You mentioned Brock Purdy earlier, and of course, Tom Brady and Joe Montana, even you mentioned earlier in the show. But keep an eye out for Austin of Western Kentucky. He was a professor to Bailey Zapp, the Hilltoppers. He's got great arm talent. He's got a great ability to adjust angles on the plays, and he could be a very exciting later round pick. So my sleeper as far as quarterbacks, Austin Reed of Western Kentucky.
Okay, well, let's face it, Western Kentucky has a history of quarterbacks. Bailey Zappi. I think Bailey Zappi will have a decent career if he's in the right system. That Patriots situation has been dysfunctional for a while. So Bailey Zappi could be the next version of Zach Wilson. Give me a fresh start, and maybe I can finally show what I'm able to do. All right, Jeremy, go ahead.
Here's another name for the back end that could be a sleeper, because he came out of a school. He does have a decent arm. He just doesn't have a lot of talent around him. It's Dennis Leary out of Kentucky. He's another one that could be a sleeper as a late rounder that has to start because somebody gets hurt or something on a team. But that being said, if you go to the cornerback room, I'm going to go back to one of our very first top 30 interviews that Detroit had, and that's that Quantez Stiggers, runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie in the CFL. 5'11", 205 pounds, runs a 4.40, and he has a 9.35 out of 10 on the RAS.
Okay, fair enough. I've already said my piece. I mentioned the three. We'll turn over to Bo.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to fit, right? So that's one of the best things about quarterbacks that do end up going in the third and fourth rounds is a lot of times you're going to what's a better fit. Most likely you don't have to go play hero ball day one. You're going to go to a team that has more pieces around you. A lot of times you'll see those guys, even if they're not going to be elite in the league, have prosperous careers, and mostly because they have a complete team around them instead of being the number one or number two overall pick, where generally you're stepping into a dumpster fire.
Okay, turn over to you, Travis.
I mean, yeah, you naming Jordan Travis, that was like automatically a ding moment for me. I'm just like, no one's talking about Jordan after his injury last year, but it was wow how everyone was on fire about the fact that FSU didn't get into the college football playoffs because of his injury, exclusively because of his injury. Cool. So he's good enough to be the reason that this team did not get into the playoffs because he was injured as an undefeated squad. And we're not talking about him at all, seemingly mainly because of that injury. Otherwise, there may be a conversation between, 7 quarterbacks going into maybe not first round, but, you're talking that second round conversation at least. Yeah, so I think that's a very good name to put into that list. You put him into the right situation. Better yet, he has a higher chance of going to the right situation simply because he'll be going later. We may mess around and have these other 6 quarterbacks be like, second and third round, at the end of the day, and these guys are more second and third round guys. And the best quarterback of the bunch was this guy who went into a great situation like Pat Mahomes did.
Okay. All right, Jen.
Joe Milton out of Tennessee. Joe Milton the third. And he's been pretty solid. I think I agree with what Travis was saying and what Bo was saying. Like, look at Bryce Young. We drafted him last year, first round, but we took away the best targets he had. So we got rid of Deontay Foreman. We got rid of DJ Moore. We got rid of X, Y, and Z. The list goes on endlessly. Thank you, Matt Toll. And Sorry, I really don't like him. But
It's understandable.
I think what?
That's understandable.
But Joe Milton III, I think he has some talent there, and I think he'll be a good sleeper for whatever team picks him. And it's like what Candy was saying, you have to have the right people around you. You have to, and you have to be coachable. That's why I don't think certain people who are in the top 3 will actually be good NFL quarterbacks.
Okay, this just in a little while ago, according to Chow Nyari, he says that the Denver Broncos are eyeing quarterback JjMccarthy in this week's NFL draft, according to Peyton Manning. So there you go. That's another team to put out there. I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. So I just wanted to get that out there. All right. With that said, here's the most straightforward question you're going to get. Okay, and that's this: will Caleb Williams succeed in Chicago or be a bust? All right, Candy, I'll let you go ahead and answer this one first.
I think he's going to be a bust.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to do well in that system. I don't know that many people do well in Chicago, but that would be my 2 cents. I don't think he's the whole answer that they're looking for, that they think they need. So I think he's going to be more of a bust than a great player.
Okay, Coach.
Man, it's a tough one. That what I don't like is I feel like he's going to a situation where the head coach is almost a lame duck.
Right.
It's like I was kind of surprised that he made it this year, so there's a high probability that he goes there, he's forced to play, and, the head coach gets fired, and in year 2, he's going to have a new head coach, maybe a new offensive coordinator and all that stuff. I mean,
right.
So, or he lights it up and, and resuscitates the whole franchise. I see it really being like almost like a bipolar deal. Like I don't know if it's a feast or famine. That's how I feel at it. It's feast or famine. It's going to either be great or it's going to be a car crash.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, let's go to the chat room. I like this comment from Robert Ordell, okay, who says, Caleb, the next Trey Lance, generational to backup. I think that pretty much is a comment that a lot of people might agree with. I will turn over to George Eichhorn, but thanks for putting that in there, Robert. Like it. Go ahead, George.
That is very interesting what Robert said, and that could very well happen. The thing that troubles me about him is losing 5 out of his last 6 games in college. And if that wouldn't have happened to him, I would have just said that, yeah, this guy is a generational pick. But you guys have hit on some good points. The coaching changes, the offensive coordinator possibly changing, and a team that is not surrounded with the greatest talent on the offensive line and the supporting cast on offense. And so that's going to put a lot of added pressure on Williams. I really do think the kid does have the tools to succeed, but Chicago may not be the best fit, obviously, because they don't have all the necessary other ingredients. Compared to a situation like Goff, where Goff came into Detroit, they built that team around him, and he had time, but he was already an established veteran. A little bit different, very different situation. And these guys are in the same division now. So it's going to be interesting to see. Chicago's going to roll the dice and pick him. That's almost assured. But we'll see if he can develop quickly.
Turn over to Jeremy.
Well, let's see. If they actually wanted a quarterback to succeed in Chicago, they would have accepted the trade back originally offered by Minnesota, who has a good O-line. They could have taken Joe Alt at 9 or Boega or Fashanu, any one of those 3 great offensive tackles, and also got a center later on. And then in the second round, take a QB, because until they get an O-line that can protect the QB and protect the run game, DeAndre Swift will be exactly what he was in Detroit while we didn't have an O-line. Good for 2 or 3 games and hurt the rest of the season. Then you got Keenan Allen. Will he play more than 8 games? He's done it twice in his career. So I don't see where they have generational weapons there. DeAndre Swift is only good for 4 games a year. 4 games where he gets over 100 yards and over 15 touches. If he gets over 16 touches in one game, he's injured the next week.
Which is exactly why the Lions let him go, which is why he only lasted a year in Philly. And the Lions made some upgrades when DeAndre Swift left. With that said, I believe he'll be a bust. Wrong system, lame duck quarterback. And you know why he didn't want to go there, but either you go there or you're not playing football. And I can't see him going for the other alternative football league. So tough it up, Buttercup, because it's going to get ugly, and then we'll find out who your next coach is going to be in 2025. All right, Bo.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of opportunity to come up short. I mean, if they do take him, he has some weapons, sure, but that offensive line is horrendous, which will actually probably keep some of them healthy because he won't have enough time to get them the ball. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is they better get after it, repairing that offensive line if they're going to give him any shot to be successful.
I mean, listen, I don't think Justin Fields did that bad of a job there. I think the Bears got impatient. They should have kept him another year. I really do. And if they wanted another quarterback, they could have traded back. That's just one's opinion. Justin Fields, I predict, will be the starter in Pittsburgh by the end of next year. Take that to the bank. All right. With that said, go ahead, Travis.
I mean, I agree with you with your Justin Fields Pittsburgh take. I think I also believe he'll be the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh. But yeah, the Bears, front office has some opportunities. Yes, I think that's the softest way I could probably say that. But
way to put it.
yeah. Hey man, that's the management brain. Yeah, the management verbiage, soft hands. But they also did get Shane Waldron from Seattle as the OC. So I'm going to try to use the most optimistic viewpoint I can probably find in this one and say, I don't think that they'll necessarily be bad enough where they're fired. I could absolutely see them extending them just a year to making it just be reasonable enough. Like if you get into the situation where what's the name? Goodness gracious, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen stay healthy throughout the actual season. They moderately I can see them being a middle of the pack squad. Like, again, not great, not incredible, but absolutely doing just enough to be feisty. I can see that. And so I don't want to just assume and pile on and just say, hey, man, he's going to be a bust. I don't know if it's necessarily that because I haven't seen that objectively. He's going to be in a rough situation. Absolutely. To Bo's point earlier, a lot of opportunity to fail. Absolutely. But also, I think he might be in a reasonable position to at least not explode. It doesn't have to be in it doesn't have to crumble. It doesn't have to be like the Jaguars under Urban Meyer. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be that. So yeah, maybe I think he'll be middle of the pack, honestly.
Okay. All right, Jen.
Best. Because of all the issues we have with the Bears. Anyway. And, our favorite Bears fan will tell you everything wrong with the Bears franchise. But look at what Justin did last year when he had Deontay Foreman and DJ Moore. And I have a sidebar question. Why can't Deontay keep a contract for more than 1 year? Topic for another day, I know. But it confuses me because he's great. But also, when you look at Caleb, he's uncoachable almost. And remember, his teammates, after they beat Louisville, they were like, hell yeah, we a team now. And that was when he was not playing. And Moses Miller was his backup was playing in that game and threw for 6 touchdowns. Caleb doesn't throw for 6 touchdown passes. I'm just saying, he doesn't. I've never heard it. And Caleb's dad went part ownership in whatever team drafts him. They don't want Caleb to get a rookie contract. They didn't want Caleb to release or give medical records or do a medical exam. Nah, dude's uncoachable.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty interesting point. All right, well, you know what? On to the next topic. You know what? We're going to start off with you this time, Jen. How's that? All right. Go ahead, Candy. All right, go ahead, Jeremy.
Jeremy
I
had
just
some.
want to add one thing about Caleb there. You know, Caleb only won the Heisman because he won the week before the conference championship. All the other quarterbacks were ahead of him at that time, and they all lost in their conference championship. If Hendon Hooker would have stayed healthy all season, none of those guys would have been talked about as a Heisman winner.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting points all the way around. Thank you, Jeremy. All right, we're going to go in a different order this time. The New England Patriots are trading the number 3 pick. Jennifer, what do you think?
I can see them go. They're going for quarterback, but it's who? It could be Jake or it could be JJ. But I could honestly see Sean Payton being nasty Carolina fans and trying to draft Drakemaye. I mean, that's inbred at this point in time.
So do you think? So Jennifer, my follow-up question to you is: do you think they will trade the 3rd pick?
They might, but I really could see that because I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm weird. I kind of like Bailey Zappi, so I would have seen him given a legit shot because I mean, of course, he was just up against Mac Jones, whom I don't care for either. But I don't think my eyes rolled far enough back in my head. But I don't know.
Okay,
I'll be
fair.
honest.
All right, you know what? We'll turn it over to Travis. What do you think?
I mean, I think they want to trade it. I think they're praying that somebody bails them out so they don't have to make this decision that they can absolutely be wrong on, because these quarterbacks outside of the top one, everyone else it's a coin flip on it's personal preference, it's taste. It's I like chicken and you like mac and cheese. There's no rhyme or reason to like overall that line and which one's right and which one's wrong. So yeah, I think they hope,
because nobody likes mayonnaise in their coffee.
I mean, you say that, but there's a Tennessee Titans quarterback.
Really?
I mean, right. So at the end of the day, I think they want to trade it, but they not received any offers that's worth making that trade for, and they shouldn't before the draft actually starts, and you know who you're trading for, specifically. I don't think it ends up taking place just because. I mean, I think the line's just too close between these quarterbacks, 3 through, really 2 through 5. I think it's that much of a difference, but you never know. These GMs, their job's on the line. Somebody's going to get lemon booty and make the trade. Who knows?
Did you say mayonnaise and coffee? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
Yes.
You
know about that, right, Scott?
Will Levis.
Yeah, that was Will Levis.
Yuck.
Right.
All I'm going to say about mayonnaise and coffee is I'm glad you told it to me after dinner instead of before it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it to dinner.
Well, Scott, you're not having more coffee tonight. Not even decaf. You're cut off, my friend.
I feel like the last couple of cups were probably not supposed to happen.
You guys, let me tell you, you two people are one of the few that are going to get me to say no comment. You just succeeded there. That doesn't happen. That does not happen, but no comment when it comes to mayonnaise and coffee. But you know what, Bo? You can comment on what I asked you about the 3rd pick.
Yeah, I think they take their 3rd pick. I mean, they want to compete in their division. You're going to need somebody, and that somebody isn't on that roster currently. So you got the 3rd pick. You get one of the top 3 guys. You're probably taking one of them.
I'll make it short and sweet because the mayonnaise and the coffee still resonates in my head a little bit. Okay, they're keeping the 3rd pick, and they know they have to get a quarterback. That's all there is to it. Otherwise, they're going to be crucified all day long. So, yeah, they'll keep it. They're not trading back. I can't see anybody that's willing to give them the king's ransom for it anyway. All right, Jeremy?
Well, yeah, they're going quarterback. They're keeping the pick. There's no sense in them trading back right now. They have an above-average O-line and nobody that can throw behind it. Jacoby Brissett, backup.
At best.
At best. Bailey Zappi, got a hell of a cannon, but where is it going? Which color jersey?
And he's a runner.
And he runs. He runs. He if the slightest bit of pressure, he bails. He's like Justin Fields rookie year.
Yeah, on the plus side, when he runs towards danger, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, that's even better. Yeah,
True.
an ACL waiting to happen.
Okay.
But at
Hey,
the
Joe.
I they got to go either Drakemaye, Jaden Daniels, whoever thaws, or JJ, whoever's there. That's who they're going with. I think I'm leaning more towards JJ with them because Washington seems like they're way higher on Drakemaye, and I kind of think Drakemaye is slightly overrated because if you actually watch him play, his mechanics are off. He can throw the ball a country mile. He can throw it 83 yards in the air and hit the crossbar, which is tremendous. How many times you got to throw an 83-yard pass?
Okay. Well, all I'm going to say about it is Elliot Wolf, the former Packer executive, is calling the shots for New England. It'll be interesting to see what direction we go. We have two more topics after this I want to get to, as well as some other news that I wish I didn't have to report, but I will anyways. George, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they're going to keep the pick, Scott and crew. They got such a mess in New England. Let's face it, with the Belichick situation and everything else that went on last year was just a terrible situation. So, yeah, I agree with Jeremy, either Jaden Daniels or Drakemaye. You guys mentioned jjmccarthy, also a possibility. It's going to be interesting to see who they take. But, yeah, I still think they're going to stay where they're at and take a new quarterback.
Okay, Katie.
Well, I'm going to address Robert Wardell. Everybody's saying trade back. What about trade up with Chicago? They don't have enough weapons to give Chicago up to get Caleb. And I don't think Chicago is willing to give up the one. You'd have to have an awful lot to do that. So I don't think they're going to trade up. I think they're actually looking to trade back, and I don't think anybody's giving them what they want. So I think they're going to be forced to just take it. Do I know who they're going to go with? No. But, there's always surprises in this draft, and that's why we have a draft. So I think they're going to have to take it forward. As we said, the draft is so heavy and we're back to the beginning. Just a matter of which one do they like.
Okay, Coach Bonner, you have the last word on this.
Elliot Wolf, the son of Ron Wolf.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Favre, they did not draft Favre in Green Bay. He was drafted by the Falcons, but Ron Wolf went and found him. They're going to take a quarterback. I mean, Elliott knows that you can't build a franchise without the trigger man, and it'll be interesting to see how they evaluated it. And what's really what happens early part of the draft. It'll be mixed. I don't see them not taking one.
Okay. All right, two more to go, and then I have some other news I want to pass on. The New York Giants are looking to trade up. They currently have the 6th pick, and they're likely eyeing NC quarterback Drakemaye. So, of course, the teams in front of them are the New England Patriots, as we just mentioned, number 3, and the Arizona Cardinals, number 4. What do you think, Coach? Do you think the Giants are going to trade up?
They'll try. They'll try, and it's just a matter of how much are they willing to give up to go up there to get their guy.
Right.
I mean, and that falls in line with the New England question.
Right.
I mean? It's these guys get paid to play poker this time of year. You know what I mean? It's gonna they'll put their cards down, once this thing gets going.
Okay, Candy.
Yeah, like the coach said. I mean, it's kind of like New England. Like, are they going to put up enough to trade up? And who wants to block them? I mean, let's face it. When you have those picks up there, you can choose how much you want for those picks, so you can make it very costly, so that it just doesn't happen. So it depends on how steadfast those picks at 2 or 3 or 4, if they have the guy in mind, they think somebody else will take if they don't take them there. So the cost is high. Will it be too high for the Giants? That's the question.
Okay, George.
Yeah, I think the top three needs for the Giants are quarterback, cornerback, and edge rusher. And quarterback, let's face it, I mean, Daniel Jones, he has been injured so much the last 2 or 3 years. They obviously want to try to get that quarterback position solidified with somebody brand new. They're going to try their best. And again, if they have the best offer, there may be some teams up in the top 3, 4 that want to make a deal with them. It could happen. I mean, stranger things have happened. But I mean, they definitely need a new quarterback. And I believe they firmly have their eyes set on jjmccarthy. That's just my hunch.
Okay, Jeremy.
Well, actually, Joe Shine, after meeting with all the quarterbacks he met with, he said they're staying with Daniel Jones. They're going to address the O-line and the weapons, because who has he really had to throw to? His best wide receiver on the roster is 30 years old and Sterling Shepard. Next is
Right.
Darius Slayton, who has drop issues of Kadarius Toney, who they traded away for drop issues. All he is fast, just like Kadarius Toney. They're probably going to go with a weapon. And seeing how Darren Waller's so old, his ACLs is disintegrating every time he plays, they're probably going brockbowers at 6, especially with the new tackle rules. That makes a lot more sense to give Daniel Jones some time to get some people in there and then go with the best tackle to make Evan Neal move to his better position, like when he played his first 2 years in college at guard, where he was a runner-up for the Remington Trophy one year for best interior O-lineman. So you're able to move Neal to the interior. You get the best offensive tackle to replace him at right tackle. If Andrew Thomas stays healthy, that went from one of the worst offensive lines in the NFC East to one of the best.
Okay, well, you know what? They just gave Daniel Jones a contract extension recently. Why would you draft another quarterback now? It makes absolutely no sense at all. If you're going to do anything with that,
You have an out after this season.
Bingo.
Yeah.
all right, well, out or no out, okay? Let's say that Jones does perform those capabilities and they get the weapons around him. Then what are you going to do? Discard him? I say right now, you have to bolster other aspects of your football team. You really do. And if you're going to draft a quarterback, you draft them later. I already mentioned a few anyways early on. I talked about Spencer Rattler, devonleary, or Mike Pratt. These other guys can easily come in later on. So I think the Giants have to bolster that roster is what they do. Because remember, their coach, Brian Dable, could be on the hot seat if they can't make a decent run this year and try to get back in contention. That's what I think. Draft somebody else. Dable cannot afford to develop another quarterback, and I don't think he's got the job security to do it. So I think they're going to stand at 6 and go from there. All right, Bo, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think they stay where they are because they have enough holes that they can kind of do best player available at their spot because they need offensive line. They need weapons. They realistically could use a quarterback. So, if their guy falls to them at 6, which one of their targets probably will, it's probably best player available for them.
I'll turn over to you, Travis.
Yeah, agreed. I'm of the belief that it's going to end up being someone like Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze. So, like they're going to end up going receiver and trying to actually give Danny Dimes that opportunity on what seems to be the last real year we'll see him in New York if it doesn't, if he doesn't truly show up. I would also agree with Jeremy's original projection that Brock Bowers can absolutely be on the horizon for this team because word on the street is Waller might be retiring. There might be something going on there this late in the game, so that's something to keep an eye on that might be coming out potentially in the next few days, week after the draft. So that's a curious one because the tight end is a very shallow position group in the draft also this year. So if it's not Bowers, you're looking late in the draft at that point. So that's tight end or receiver, I guess.
Jen?
So I want to address something that Jeremy said. 2 somethings, actually. First of all, really, you think Daniel Jones has the makings because I totally disagree with you. He went to
He's
like
better
the
stats
least
than
football
Trevor
college ever. Huh?
He has better stats than Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence out here
Calm
catching
down.
strays.
Calm down.
Just chill out, Jeremy. Go smoke
It's
something.
the truth.
But
He has 2 more touchdowns, 4 less interceptions. He has a 2% better completion percentage. He has a 3 better QBR.
And then take out 2021, and it's not even close.
yeah, take out 2021.
We've already had this conversation. You literally, if you don't look at 2021 and you only look into the last 2 years, it's not even a
last year.
conversation.
Take last year alone.
You're counting the most.
Last year, the year before, when they both went 9-8 and made the playoffs.
You're counting a year that was the most dysfunctional year in football for any franchise ever. I don't think you can really count that.
You had a
You
coach
really
that
can't.
stayed back with
Urban
enough
Meyer was
lady
the
in the
first
bar.
coach to not tool.
Wait, okay, if you're going to eliminate that rookie year, you have to eliminate Daniel Jones' rookie year, which was under Joe Judge.
Is that Urban Meyer staying back and when the team's on an airplane?
That offense was horrible.
Kicking kickers.
There is
He's
no
out in the
comparison.
practice field kicking kickers, bro.
Then my other thing is what you haven't paid attention to regarding Drakemaye. His mechanics have improved year over year since he's been under Mac Brown at UNC. Now, does his mental game need to get a little bit better, especially when he's under pressure? Sure, but that comes with a little bit more experience as well. And keep in mind, Drakemaye comes from a family of high caliber athletes, all professional athletes. I think the only one that wasn't a pro in the family was mom, and she was pro-am, to be perfectly honest. His brothers, all in leagues, all of them. So he's got that skill set. He's got that mentality. He got a little cocky because he's Carolina royalty because of said family. But he also stayed and showed his love, and he got paid for it from the NIL. But what was the original question, Scott? I'm sorry.
No, that's because Jeremy put out so much nonsense. I should have made myself a cocktail.
But I will say this.
And me too. Make one for me too.
So the Giants trading up, and whether or not that's going to take place, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Giants might, because somebody did make a good point. They have an easy out clause with Daniel Jones this year. They're not going to take it. Because if they move back, then they could get more people to like help make Daniel Jones look good, like he did in 2023 when they gave him that obnoxious contract. But 1 year does not equal a great quarterback. I'm just saying. But I think Daniel Jones needs to work on his mental game as well, to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay, Coach Bono has to get going. So, Coach, I have one topic. You're free to comment on it if you want to, and then we'll let you roll. Okay, we're at the end of the line anyways. I know we have to have a hard out at 9:45. We're doing extremely well on time. So, Coach, over at the immediate availability with Danieljeremiah, they say that the LA Chargers draft philosophy could move to trade the number 5 pick. But Danieljeremiah said the Chargers are looking at a volume draft, taking extra picks to fit Jim Harbaugh's system. Do you agree or disagree with that assessment?
Wow. I would say I probably generally I would agree with that statement. I think, yeah, I do.
Okay.
So Jim's gonna put his flavor on everything. You know what I mean? And if there's a guy that he likes, that he covets a position, I know that he wants to be good on the offensive line. I could see them, going O-line early.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Coach, with that said, I know you got to roll. Why don't you let everybody know how they can get hold of you real quick?
Well, you can find me here on Tuesday nights or on LinkedIn. That's really the only social media platform that I'm on. But, Scott, I always appreciate you having me here, and thank you for making me part of the show. And we'll see you next week.
Well, actually, we'll be off next week because I'll be on the road, but it'll be 2 weeks. You have the week off. But meanwhile, Coach, thank you very much for being on. And obviously, I enjoy working with you in many, many different ways. So thanks for being a trooper tonight with this incredible draft night crew that we have. Thanks, Coach. But I'll definitely be in touch. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay, everybody knows the topic. We'll roll through it. I have some other news I want to get to, and then we'll call it a night. All right, Candy, you know the question. The Chargers looking at a volume draft, taking extra picks. You agree or disagree with that assessment?
I think Coach hit it on the nail on the head. I think now that they have Jim Harbaugh there, that he's going to put his take on the draft and his input in. And I, as well as he should, let's face it. I mean, he's the one that's going to be coaching these guys too. Will they trade a lot more? I don't know. I think they'll stand put and get some weapons that they need.
All right, George.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of needs over there. You know, they got a good quarterback with Justin Herbert. They need some more playmakers on running back, wide receiver, edge rusher, some of their top needs. I see them, Harbaugh's going to do it his own way. Yeah, I agree with that, but there is a management structure there, so he may not have final say in everything that goes down over there, but he certainly proved himself as a winner when he was with San Francisco, the 49ers in the NFL. So I anticipate him having a really solid team. It might take a couple of years, but they're going to build what they got to build there, and it's going to take Jim's expertise and his knowledge to do that. So, yeah, that's
Turn over to Bo. All right, go ahead, Bo.
Okay,
Well,
go ahead, Joe.
No, Bo.
Oh,
Well, all right, we'll go over to me. All right. But that said, I definitely agree with that. Jim Harbaugh will definitely go out there and maximize a lot of picks for sure. So, with that, I mean, obviously he has a big job with the Chargers, anyways. He really, really does. So, with that said, you know, he's one of those types of people that you know full well that he went out there and had a certain way of doing things. You know, with Michigan, I see him utilizing a lot of what he's done. So, Paul, we want to thank you very much for being on the broadcast. If you get on, great. If not, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. All right, Jen, what do you think about Mr. Harbaugh?
Jim Harbaugh is definitely going to put his spin on things. He is not known for being quiet or bashful, nor is his brother. I am excited about seeing them coach against each other, though, this year. That'll be fun. Poor mom. But I don't know. I'm still kind of sold on my idea of JJ going to the Chargers. If he's around that long, I don't know, but I kind of like it. Because then JJ sits behind Justin Herbert for a year, right? Could be worse things. So, and then they get a trade package for Herbert.
Well, you know what? I'll say one thing about you, Jennifer. You definitely give a fresh perspective to this topic. And I repeat, fresh perspective. Okay. So with that said, okay, Travis, what do you think?
He's begrudgingly agreeing. He's mad at me. I love you, Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy. I'm one of the weirder few people that believe they actually might trade back. While I know that they could absolutely sit at home and just pick up one of the top, if not one of the top two receivers, I'm of the opinion that, hey, this is a very deep draft and they have a lot of needs. Like, you know, you were saying cornerback, wide receiver, offensive center, tackle. All these are positions where there's a lot of, like, the first cornerback might not come off the board until you're talking, early 20, maybe late teens. The first guard and, center, the JPJ that I was referencing earlier, is going to be a late first round pick. Someone could easily set this team up, set the Chargers up to get multiple of these things that they actually need in the first round if they just trade from that number 5 spot to the teens or the early 20s. So I'm of the opinion if you have a new coach that comes in and wants to put his stamp on things, that's how you get it done. You trade back and you pick up the exact things that you need, and you may be able to get your top 1, maybe even top 2 receivers in the late first or early second, just based on that, directly from that one trade. So that if you can get that offer, that's how you do it.
Okay. All right, Jeremy, you have the last word on this topic.
Well, Jen almost kind of stole my thunder, but it's Herbert to Minnesota for the 11 and 23. They get the 5. They pick the quarterback they want, whoever falls out of the top 4. Then you get they can do two things then. They can either get Roma Dunze, who will probably be there around the 11th pick because of what everybody needs ahead of them. And then they can also get an offensive tackle or guard to bolster that O-line to help keep Justin Herbert upright. Because that's another reason why Austin Eckler got heard about. And seeing how they just signed two of the most injured running backs over the past 4 years in J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, it'll help them too.
Yeah.
Okay. So some final news before we turn it over to Candy. We'll acknowledge BlackRock one more time. We want to thank them for sponsoring tonight's show. Former MVP Matt Ryan has retired, so I guess he likes it in the broadcast booth. So don't worry about him. You know, broadcasting is a good thing for him. Glad he did. Secondly, unfortunately, on a somber note, former Albany defensive lineman ajsimon, who was hoping to be selected this weekend, died at the age of 25. No cause of death was immediately known. He had 12 and a half sacks last season for Albany and was ranked as the 448th prospect in the latest NFL draft rankings from ESPN's Matt Miller. You know, we talk about prospects and then we talk about young guys who tragically die earlier, not being able to fulfill their dreams. So all I can say, ajsimon, is rest in peace. All of us here on Inside the Pigskin hope you do rest in peace. You know, in our industry, while we try to give you as good a news as we can, we can't dodge these stories either, and I will not dodge any story as well. So rest in peace, ajsimon, and Albany. He'll always be legendary there. The only thing I would like to say to add to it before we wrap up this show tonight is I hope that the NFL does something special to mention ajsimon's name during the course of the 3 days in Albany. But we'll see. The NFL is always very good about those sort of things. Hopefully they have something planned. All right, Katie, why don't you let everybody know right now some of the things we have planned up. But before you do that, okay, I want to just mention it one more time that Inside the Pigskin is being sponsored by Black Rock Bar and Grill. Tonight we are live here in Hartland, Michigan, the company's original location, which opened on October 27, 2010. My brother, Lonnie Morgan-Roth, obviously is the owner, and he's done a magnificent job with this restaurant chain. With Black Rock, you can cook your meals the way you like them on a sizzling 755-degree lava volcanic rock. So we want to thank Lonnie. We want to thank Brandon Morgan-Roth, as well as the manager on duty, Erica, for allowing us to put this show together tonight. Without you folks, the three I mentioned and then some, we couldn't have put together a really strong broadcast to get you ready for the NFL draft. Candy, go ahead and you have a promotion as well. Then we'll everybody out there and everybody know how they can get a hold of them. Go ahead, Candy.
Well, I just want to say that I want to first say thank you because this was a collaborative effort because Jen and I are normally on Chicks and Salsa or 3 Chicks in a Pod, and we normally are on 7:30 on Tuesday nights. We decided to, as a collaborative effort, join Inside the Pigskin this week. And so we are broadcasting live on both channels. And we want to thank Inside the Pigskin for inviting us. I think this was a very good episode, and I think we might do these again in the future. But there is a red subscribe button on, I think it's by Jeremy at this point. If you see it, that means you haven't subscribed to us. Subscribe to our show, our channel, watch all of our fun shows. Normally Monday nights are inside our 108 Stitches baseball talk. Tuesday nights are Inside the Pigskin. Wednesday nights is Sports Exchange and Motor City Mad Mouse Show. Thursday nights is Fun and Sport and Fire Up. We will be taking a break this week and then next week until Thursday because we will be here covering the draft. So we're in Detroit for now. So after that, we'll be back ready to go. If you want to listen to any of our podcasts, you can tune into iHeartRadio, Google, Apple, Castbox, Spreaker, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also go to our website, draft.southfloridatribune.com. You can see the writings of George, Scott, Jeremy. I take pictures. I think Jen even wrote us a story in Once Upon a Time. I got to get her on that again.
Huh?
Get you on writing stories for us.
Let's find some time.
But most importantly, there are other panelists that are part of our show tonight. Make sure you go to their channels and subscribe and watch them and support them as well, because without them, we wouldn't be here and this wouldn't have been so successful as it was. The other thing is, Scott wrote a book. It is called Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It talks about his over 40 years in the media business and how it's changed over the years. It has interesting stories. It has a couple of pictures. It's a picture of Scott with a young Muhammad Ali in there. You got to get it. You got to get it. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle. Let's see, Apple Books and Google Books. Actually, we even have some here tonight in case anybody is listening and wants to purchase one here. We are at the Black Rock in Hartland, Michigan. We are going down to the draft. We will be there live. I don't know what kind of access we're going to have, but we're going to have some fun and report back. Okay, Scott, back to you.
All right, well, you know what? Here's the thing, folks. If you haven't subscribed to the South Florida YouTube channel, it'll be a good idea because a lot of the content will be coming on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, so that's a good reason to do it. Cop back then, so you know what? Well, we only have one topic left. I want to make sure you get it in. I'll make it really quick and short, then you can let everybody know they get a hold of you. The LA Chargers draft philosophy could move. They could move the number 5 pick, but Danieljeremiah said the Chargers are looking at a volume draft. Is what they're looking, taking the extra pick to fit his system for Jimharbaugh. Do you agree or disagree with that assessment?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, let everybody know how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, sorry, I had to jump off of there. I had
that's all right.
Which I had to sign for. So yeah, you can find me right here every Tuesday night, and of course on my channel at Football-Talk and Roku TV 5 days a week.
Very good. All right, George, let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can find me on the South Florida Tribune website under the Motor City Tribune. And at the end of my column, there's a link to my book, which is Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. It's a great book about Michigan and Detroit sports broadcasting history, including the esteemed Scott Morganroth. And there's our friend Jeremy with both books. Nice. What a trooper. You can reach me at Yahoo at gicron@yahoo.com, on LinkedIn under my name as well, and on Twitter at SanGSports99. And you can follow me here on any number of the shows, 108 Stitches, Pundits, and many, many others. So thank you for being all so great tonight on this great show. Thanks.
Okay, Travis, let everybody know how they can get a hold of you.
You can find all my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars on bigcatcountry.com. You can find me here every week on Inside the Pigskin on Tuesdays, or the Sports Exchange, or Pundits, wherever they need me. I'm here to talk football all day long. You can also find me, for those of you who partake, Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, the Duval Diver Jaguars podcast on Fridays, wherever you catch your podcasts, and that's at 11:30 a.m. As always, thank you for having me, gentlemen and ladies.
There you go. All right, Jen, go ahead.
Hi, thanks again, Scott and Candy, Jeremy, Madlove, Travis. I think we may have interacted on Facebook a little bit, by the way, but I'm trying to remember, like something you just said, like clicked in my head. But I may be wrong. But you can find me on Facebook at Jen Lewis, or 3 Chicks in a Pod. I will be changing the name and adding Chicks and Salsa to that name probably tonight. You can also find me on Twitter and IG at Jenna Cheryl, the professional fan. And I'm on Jenna Cheryl on Reddit, and I took a lot of different random stuff on Reddit. But and that's where you can find us. 7:30 on Tuesday nights and most nights. And tonight was a great collab, Candy. So thank you. This was a lot of fun and a great idea. And we'll see our other girls with us too, but they had one had an emergency and one had a car issue. So yeah.
Well, I could definitely see this format coming back. I've enjoyed watching you, and I'll be looking forward to having Kerry Johnson and Megan Price on at a later date. But we got Jennifer and Candy, so we got two. We'll just add more. All right, Jeremy, we'll let you wrap this bad boy up, and we'll rock and roll over to downtown Detroit tomorrow. And for those of you that are following us on social media, you'll be able to see exactly what we're doing. All right, Jeremy, wrap it up.
All right, you can find me right here on the South Florida Tribune on Inside the Pigskin and Fire Up, the Professor and the Pupil, pundits when necessary. My goodness, anywhere Scott needs me, I'll be there. You can also find my writings on the SouthFloridaTribune.com under the Motor City Tribune heading, where I cover the Detroit Lions and some NFL subjects as well. And then you can find me on my channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions, where I'm live every morning, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. with Lions Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. and Von Doom when he can. He's got a new job, so that's changed. And then we have our 3 night shows on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 p.m. Wednesday is our NFL-based show.
Okay, I want to thank everybody in the chat room for participating. All of you are fantastic. We did everything in our power to get all the important comments up there, and we're very thankful. And again, once again, a nice collaborative effort. So, meanwhile, on behalf of Coach Bono, Coach John Bonamago, George Eichhorn, Candy Ebling, Travis Holmes, Jennifer Lewis, yeah, me, okay, Jeremy Ballrick, and Bo Football Talk. We want to thank you very much for joining us on this draft edition of Inside the Pigskin, and we will catch you another time. Thank you very much for everybody, and especially we want to thank the folks at Black Rock Bar and Grill for hosting us tonight, our sponsor. Good night, everybody, and enjoy the football. And if you haven't subscribed to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, there will be a lot of new things coming up there. Good night, everybody.
Good night.